In the heart of a vast African jungle, where the trees stretched tall like watchful guardians and the rivers sang ancient songs, there lived a lion named Asamba. Asamba was not just any lion. He was the undisputed king of the jungle. His roar echoed for miles, sending antelopes and zebras scattering, and even the great elephants would pause when they heard his mighty voice. For many seasons, Asamba ruled with a heavy paw. His strength was unmatched, and his word was law. But as wise as he was in battle, Asamba was proud. So proud that he believed no creature, big or small, could ever stand against him. One year, a terrible drought struck the land. The rivers dried to trickles, the grass turned brittle and yellow, and the animals grew weak with thirst and hunger. Asamba, in his towering pride, declared, "Only those who serve me shall drink from the last watering hole." And so, the jungle fell under an unkind rule, where only the strongest, or those willing to bow low before the lion, survived. But far beyond the lion's reach, in a quiet corner of the jungle, there lived a tortoise named Jabari. Jabari was small, slow, and often overlooked. Yet, what he lacked in speed and size, he made up for in something even more valuable: wisdom. His shell bore the marks of many years, and his eyes held the calm of one who had seen both storms and sunshine. When word of Asamba's harsh rule reached Jabari, he shook his head slowly and said, "A king who forgets mercy is a king who invites his own fall." The animals gathered around him, their voices hushed, as they begged him for a solution. Though no one believed a tortoise could stand against a lion, they had nothing left to lose. Jabari pondered deeply before he spoke again. "I will go to Asamba. Alone." The journey took Jabari many days. He moved steadily, never hurrying, never resting too long. And all the while, Asamba continued his reign, growing fatter and prouder as others grew weaker. By the time Jabari arrived, Asamba was lounging beneath a great baobab tree, his golden mane shining like fire in the sun. When Jabari appeared before him, small and unassuming, Asamba chuckled. "What brings you here, little shell walker? Have you come to bow before your king?" Jabari's voice was calm as still water. "No, Asamba. I have come to challenge you." The jungle fell silent. Birds paused mid-flight. Even the wind seemed to wait. Asamba threw back his head and roared with laughter. "You, a tortoise? Challenge me?" "Yes," Jabari said simply. "But not with claws or teeth. I challenge you to a contest of wisdom. 3 riddles. If I lose, you may crush me beneath your paw. But if I win, you will share the watering hole with all the animals again." Asamba, amused and curious, agreed. "Very well, old one. Speak your riddles." The first riddle Jabari spoke was, "I have rivers without water, forests without wood, and cities without people. What am I?" Asamba frowned. His great brow furrowed. Minutes passed, the lion growing restless. Finally, he growled in frustration, "I do not know." Jabari answered, "A map." The animals hidden in the trees whispered with hope. The second riddle came, "The more you take, the more you leave behind." "What am I?" Again, Asamba growled and paced, his tail lashing. Sweat glistened on his golden fur. Yet again, he could not answer. "Footsteps," Jabari said quietly. Now the lion was angry. His pride burned hotter than the midday sun. But he could not break his word. "Ask your final riddle," Asamba roared. Jabari nodded slowly and spoke. "What has roots that nobody sees, is taller than trees. Up, up it goes, and yet it never grows." Silence stretched. Asamba's eyes darkened, his pride battling against the truth that he, the great king, had been outwitted by a tortoise. At last, Asamba lowered his mighty head. "I do not know," he admitted, his voice quieter now. "A mountain," Jabari said. The jungle erupted in quiet gasps and murmurs. Jabari had won. True to his word, Asamba stood before all the animals and declared that from that day forward, the watering hole belonged to everyone. His pride was wounded, but in its place grew something unexpected: respect for the tortoise, for wisdom, and for the balance of power in the jungle. From that day, Asamba ruled with both strength and wisdom. And Jabari, though he returned to his quiet corner of the jungle, became a legend whose story was told from one generation to the next. In the end, it was not the lion's roar that echoed through the ages, but the quiet voice of a tortoise who proved that sometimes the smallest step can leave the greatest mark.